You heard the rest. Now here's the best. Stay Tuned Sports Podcast.
And hello there, all you Stay Tuners. Welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned Sports. It's your good friend Jimbo here, back. Slightly. I'm a little tired here. Only got a couple hours sleep last night. But I'm here to chew your ears off or talk your ears off a little bit, I guess. I don't know. This show might be a little bit off the rail this week, but it's going to be fun. Lots to talk about. Football. Got some NHL stuff in there I want to talk about, as well as college football. It's never too early to talk a little college football, especially possibly a little rivalry growing between Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher. But before we get into the show here, head over to staytunesports.net so you can follow all of our social media accounts there on the right hand side. You want to follow them there because I usually share out my our Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series, the YouTube link, which is over on 3 White TV. Past few weekends I've been doing giveaways. Now I know I said I was going to do a giveaway this past Friday. I actually didn't race, so I will roll it over to this not this Friday because we're off this Friday. Excuse me. But next Friday I'll do another giveaway. So next week's episode I'll talk a little bit about the rules for that giveaway. But head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/stsports. Another way to show your support for the show, as well as we still have our STS chat hotline. It's 612 STS chat. Give me a call. Tell me what you think about the show. Any type of sports topics or you want me to talk about, let me know. I'll put it on the show and I'll respond to it. So like I said, this past Friday the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series was at Knock Hill, and it was the first road course of the season. My first. Well, it would have been my first attempt at a road course if I raced Friday. Definitely a fun track to run on. First couple days of me trying to practice with it and stuff like that, it was a little rough. And it was a little rough for these guys too on Friday night. A lot of spin outs. I think there was only maybe 1 or 2 cars though that officially retired for the night, but still with some good battles, and it was still an entertaining night to watch the races as well. Definitely a track that I hope gets added to the schedule for next season. Definitely want to try to run that one again. Tuesday night. I ran Watkins Glen with the TNR guys over there, the Tuesday Night Thunder series that they run. I did not last long. Now, granted, I just started to practice that one about 20 minutes before the qualifying because I had a lot of stuff going on over the weekend and things like that. I gave it a go, but man, road courses are just a different beast. And our buddy Scott Crump, he runs with us now. And I mean, he even said himself, it's just not something you could just walk into. You have to really do practice. And this season with the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series and with the Tuesday Night Thunder, definitely learning a lot. Definitely learning that you just can't go in this blind. You got to put the time in. You got to practice. And I just want to give a little shout to both leagues. The guys that are involved with both leagues have been real helpful with me, giving me tips and telling me what I'm doing wrong and what I'm doing good. So I'll eventually get there, and maybe at some point I will be better than last. Maybe I'll be second to last. So earlier this week, the Philadelphia Eagles signed James Bradbury away from the Giants. Giants released him. He was their number one cornerback, but because of salary cap issues and everything, they had to release him. And the Eagles were one of 7 teams that were interested, contacted them, all that stuff. Well, luckily, we were able to snatch him up. Now, James Bradbury is a number 1 cornerback for any team. And we snatched him up. Now, he's getting paired with Darius Slay. And over on Twitter and Facebook, the rumbling started, is this Eagles Dream Team 2.0? If you guys forget, 2011 was the year that Vince Young uttered the words, "This feels like a dream team." You had Vince Young. We went out and signed Nnamdi, I can never say his name, Asamoah, Jason Babin, Ronnie Brown came over after the whole Wildcat thing with the Dolphins. Excuse me. Colin Jenkins. It's just a lot of big names. And kind of want to take on this little question. Is it the Eagles Dream Team 2.0? And honestly, no, I don't think so. You look at the 2011 team. To me, they were a lot bigger names. And already had their names already out in the league. Now you look at the acquisitions that we got this season so far. Not taking the draft into consideration, it's just strictly free agents. We traded for AJ Brown, we signed James Bradbury, we signed Hassan Reddick and Kaiser White. Are they talented players? Without a doubt. Are they as talented as the 2011 players? I think a lot better. If you really, again, look at it, the 2011 team, every single one of those players were 30 or older, already showing some decline. And really the only one that came out of that team as being a solid starter was Evan Mathis and Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie. Nnamdi, he only lasted 2 or 3 seasons before we cut him and he retired. Jason Babin, same thing. Ronnie Brown, he just disappeared. So... But you're probably like, well, Jim, if they're better than those 2011 players, how isn't this a dream team? Well, because the 2011 team, these guys were like individual players. They I don't want to say knee players, but they were well-known players. And you look at Kaiser White, he's young, okay? He's still improving. He's still getting better. AJ Brown has been consistent since he came into the league. The only thing with him is the knock of being injured all the time. And then you look at Hassan Reddick, back-to-back seasons of double-digit sacks. Can he, keep that going? So there's still some questions of, can they gel together as a team offensively and defensively? Now, the one thing I do like, with the AJ Brown signing, with the Kaiser White, like all them, Jalen Hurts is taking AJ Brown and Darius Slay to vacations to get that chemistry going. Like, so they're all trying to gel together even before OTAs and training camp. 2011 team was the lockout year, so they had a late start. They only had training camp for 20 some days, was it, or something like that? And the other thing we gotta remember too is no matter what, it's a good possibility that this Philadelphia Eagles team may have like 1 or 2 free agents that don't pan out. That just might be okay and may have overpaid. Same thing with the draft picks. Yeah, everybody's excited about our first round draft pick, Davis. But can he play? Can he transition to the NFL? We've seen that plenty of times. How many Heisman quarterbacks have we seen fail in the NFL? So, I mean, it is still a possibility that none of this works out, that this was all wasted. But looking at paper, you got a bunch of young guys that are good players that still have some good years ahead of them, whereas 2011, they were already on decline. So, am I going to call this a dream team? No. Is this a very good team on paper? I could call it that. This is a very good team. And in the coming weeks, I'm actually going to sit down and look at the NFC East schedule, for the Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, and the Giants. Which, speaking of Commanders, sounds like Carson Wentz is doing pretty well down there, throwing interceptions to the defense already. That came out, I think it was yesterday, the day before they had their first OTAs. And he's already shown that he's interception prone. So we all know this is his last chance to show that he could be a franchise quarterback. And if he blows this, I'll even go out on a stretch and say he may not even be a backup quarterback in the NFL. So Calgary Flames and the Edmonton Oilers played Game 3. I think it was either Sunday night or Monday night I saw. And there was a incident with Milan Lucic and the Oilers goaltender Mike Smith. Mike Smith came out to play the puck behind the net, and Lucic went for the puck, but ended up barreling into Mike Smith, which caused him to get ejected from the game, 5-minute major, yada, yada, yada. Mike Smith had to leave the game because of the doctors or whatever that sit in the stands to see if they need to enter the concussion protocol. So he had to leave the game for a little bit. Here's my issue, and it's been a big issue of mine for probably since I started watching hockey back in 2014. Stop treating these goalies like quarterbacks. Should it have been a penalty? Yeah. Okay. Mike Smith's back was to Lucic, and Lucic, they assessed him a charging penalty, and I think it was a game misconduct too, or something like that. Yeah, game misconduct. But if a goaltender wants to come outside the net and be part of the game, then he should just be considered a regular skater. Should Lucic got a game misconduct? I don't think so. I think he got that because it was a goaltender. If it was any other player on that ice, he would have got just a charging penalty. And, depending on how bad, or if the guy was cut or something like that, maybe be a little bit longer penalty. But we're going to baby these guys when they come outside the net. But yet when they're in the net, they could stand there and slap you with their stick while other players are behind the net. Like, there's got to be a little bit of give. If they want some, if they want to be players. And I'm just tired of seeing, oh my God, it's goaltender interference, or he, like a lot of times I do see too is players when a goaltender comes out behind the net to play the puck or whatever, players will escape close to them and try to get the puck, whereas if it's a regular player, you can hit into him and hit him off that puck. Goaltenders, you can't. And I just wish, I understand, NHL is worried about player safety and concussions and, all that stuff. But they make the rule that goaltenders cannot come out from behind the net or from the front of the net and play the puck. Tell them stay in front of the net. That's all you could do. Let your other teammates come back and play the puck. And just to show you, like, you know, that this wasn't a vicious or planned hit, NHL did come out and say Lucic won't face any supplemental discipline for what happened. But the other thing too, I think the NHL needs to start looking into is if these goalies are going to come out from the front of the net to play the puck or whatever, make sure these guys aren't flopping. Because again, you know, we see it in the NFL, especially with Tom Brady. Yes, I'm going to keep saying that till the day he retires. When he bitches, he gets what he wants. All these goaltenders got to do is just flop down on the ground, and it looks like they got nailed because they have so much gear on them. I have nothing against goalies. Like, you know, this might sound like I'm having a bitch fest that goalies are babies and, you know, are weak and this and that. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, these guys face 30 to 50 sometimes shots a night, sometimes over 100 miles an hour coming at them. So you gotta be nuts to be a goaltender. I always felt that. Just wish the rules were a little different, a little more fair and equal between goaltenders and regular offensive players. Alabama plays Texas A&M this coming season, and we are about 5 months from that game, and there's already fireworks going off. Nick Saban coming out saying that Texas A&M, who I believe got the #1 recruiting class this season, said he bought the players. You know, with this NIL players agreements, you know, all over the place, and, you know, possibilities of getting them. Saban felt that Fisher had some of these already in place for these players that committed early to Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher was not happy with that at all. I mean, he just yelled and did everything, you know, saying, you know, you could go on the internet and dig up Saban's past and see where he's come from, and, you know, this and that, like just bashing him. Here's the thing I have about both of them. Why are you fighting over it? You know, these players. Now, granted, I mean, Fisher did make a point, whether this is true or not. So I'm basing it off of him telling the truth. He said 11 of the early entries, only one of them had a NIL deal. And some of these players won't sign something like this until they're a junior or senior, unless they're an unbelievable talent as freshman or sophomore. So, you know, for Saban to think, oh, the boosters are still greasing the palms of these players, I don't think so. I highly doubt that. You know, Texas A&M has been playing better the past couple seasons. At least it feels like it. So maybe these players feel like, you know, maybe A&M is catching up to Alabama. And maybe by the time I'm a junior or senior, we'll be overtaking Bama and we'll have more eyes on us so I could get a better NIL deal. Plus, Saban, he's as big of a crybaby as Tom Brady is when it comes to not getting his way. I always hated Saban. I don't want to say I hated Saban. I never liked him, but then what he did to the Dolphins to come to Alabama was just wrong, and that's what made me go from not liking him to hate him. So when Notre Dame lost to him in 2012, that hurt more than it should have. But this little rivalry, I'm definitely gonna tune in for this game. I'm not sure if they have a time for the game, but they better make this a prime time game especially if this keeps going for the next 5 months. They will have ratings all over the place. There may even be some fisticuffs going on the field. So this could potentially be a good game. I just hope that Saban doesn't put up 40 on Fisher and says, well, you bought all your players, I didn't buy my players, and look what I did to you. So before we go, I'm not sure if I did last week. I think I did last week, but we're going to do a hot minute take here. Kind of calling an audible here because this story broke late last night after I did all my research for the show, my notes and things like that. NFL is looking into doing away with the Pro Bowl and possibly doing something else to make it more entertaining than it already has been. So finally, after probably a good decade, NFL sounds like they finally are listening to the fans and the players and are looking into ways to make Pro Bowl weekend a better situation, an entertaining weekend, instead of just putting that garbage game on. I mean, if you guys have seen at least highlights of it, it's just garbage. And there's only one easy fix to do this. I mean, obviously still, recognize your Pro Bowl players that get picked for this weekend. Don't even call the game no more. Just call Pro Bowl weekend. That's the first fix. And the second fix, bring back the skill competition. That's the only thing fans tune into for any of these sports is the skill competitions. And let's be honest, the two best skill competitions out there are the quarterback passing accuracy and the field goal horse game. So that's my hot minute take of what the NFL might be doing with the Pro Bowl. Hope they take my advice. Hope Roger Goodell's listening to the show here and definitely brings back those two skill competition games, because they are and were the funnest ones to watch every year. I think that's going to be it for us this week. Make sure you head over to staytunesports.net to follow all of our social media accounts on the right hand side there. Plus, you can find where you can listen to the show at iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, all that type of stuff. Merch tabs up top there. Have a long weekend this weekend. I might make something over on our store there, maybe some beer glasses or something like that. And speaking of beer, head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/stsports to show your support for the show by buying me a couple beers there. Past couple guys, Garrett Gleason, Scott Crump, Chris Darling, they all showed support for the show, bought me a few beers. I got drunk off of them. I appreciate that. And speaking of beers too, this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, please be safe out there. If you are drinking, call a friend. Don't drink and drive. Not worth it. I know gas is more expensive than drinking. Stay home and drink. Till next week, it's your good friend Jimbo, signing out.